What's the quintessential American meal? Burger and fries.
American burger and fries.
Today I'll share my healthy and tasty twist on this popular staple with my vegan version of this much-loved classic. And then I'll visit with saxophone great and vegetarian Paul Winter. And we'll talk about his historic concert at the White House. So please, join me.
Jazzy, you're gonna be healthy with the Jazzy vegetarian. Jazzy, so snazzy. We're gonna cook something healthy and light. Jazzy, so snazzy.
So join me in the kitchen right now.
We're gonna cook something healthy and light. That's right.
Sometimes even I get a craving for burger and fries. So I've created a fabulous vegan version of my favorite childhood meal. My hearty mushroom nut burger gets all dressed up with a crusty bun, sweet onion, mustard, and ketchup, of course. But what would a burger be without fries? Confetti oven fries stand in for the deep fried version, and Jazzy Coleslaw adds crunch and color to this fun meal. For dessert, my banana milkless shake adds a creamy, sweet touch of classic taste. So let's prepare our all-American meal. For many years, my husband has been saying, you've got to get a good vegan burger. Well, I tried one after the other. So I'd serve him to him and go, no, not this one. Serve him another. No, not this one. Finally, I served him what I'm going to make for you right now, and he said, that's the one. So I'm so excited to share my burger with you. And it's really, really easy to put together. It's very, very important to use very fresh, soft, whole grain breadcrumbs. Here's the reason. Even if the bread is just a little bit crunchy, once you make the breadcrumbs out of them, they won't get soft. And it's the softness in the bread that's really going to hold this burger together. So we're going to start by making some fresh breadcrumbs. Very, very easy. We're going to end up with about 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. So I'm going to start with 3 large slices of soft whole grain bread. Now we gotta flavor it up. So I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. You can also use all-purpose seasoning with this. Here's time for a little jazzy tip. If you go to your supermarket, you're gonna see a lot of different kinds of all-purpose seasoning. What I suggest is buy a couple of them. Try them out. See which one that you and your family likes best. The same with Italian seasoning. There are a lot of different brands. Try a couple. So then you're gonna have some basic tastes that you know you and your family like that you can kind of switch up in your recipes. So today I'm using 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/8 teaspoon of sea salt. There we go. Very easy. All we do is make it into breadcrumbs like this. That is perfect. You want to make sure to make them into coarse, soft, whole grain breadcrumbs. So let's measure them out. Go. 1. So what I've got is 1.5 cups of lightly packed, soft, whole grain breadcrumbs. By the way, have you checked out my spoon? Little musical note, a drumstick on the end. I thought that was quite appropriate for today. So that's the first layer of our burgers. I'm just going to set that aside. So what we're going to do to add great taste is 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts. And we're just going to grind them up too. There we go. That is the consistency we are looking for. A few little chunks, but most of all, it's almost like a fine walnut flour is what you want to see. That's going to be perfect for these mushroom nut burgers. I'm going to get that all in there. So what I have here is 2 cups of finely chopped mushrooms. And 1/3 of a cup of diced onion. Do want to cut it pretty small, even though I'm putting it in the food processor. That makes it so it grinds at about the same rate that the mushrooms do. And then just for a little pop of taste, 1 teaspoon of reduced sodium tamari. If you don't want to use the tamari, just use about 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. Now we're going to make this into what I call an almost puree. That's looking pretty good. Let me check it out. So that's an almost puree. You see, you've got a couple little pieces of those onions left in there, a little bit of the mushroom. Add that in there. Let me get my green spatula. And you just want to get all that mushroom and onion and tamari puree into your burger mix. That's it. We have our fresh breadcrumbs, we have our ground walnuts, and we have our mushrooms and our onions. And the cool thing is you don't have to pre-saute the mushrooms and onions for this. It all just goes in raw. We're gonna mix it together to incorporate. Well, the first time I was making this, I said to myself, this is gonna be the one, because I felt that it was really coming together like a burger. It smelled so good. So let me just wash my hands off. And let me get my cookie sheet. Now I'm using a cookie sheet that's lined with unbleached parchment paper. And I'm using approximately a 3-inch cookie cutter or cookie round. That makes it so your burgers end up all the same size. Not really all that important, but it kind of makes them a little bit prettier. So let me finish putting this together with my hands. Oh yeah, that's perfect. If for some reason it seems too loose, depending on the kind of bread that you use, you can just add in some more breadcrumbs at this point. Okay, see how that all just comes together? If I just pick it up, it all stays together. Almost like ground meat would for regular burgers. I'm gonna divide it into 4 burgers. Just put them right into your ring. Lift that up. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Perfect, perfect. All right, and one more here. Very easy, you just wanna firmly press your mushroom walnut mixture into your cookie ring. One more here. Oh, they kind of look like burgers too. Well, there they are, ready to pop in the oven at 375 for 18 minutes on the first side. Then I'm gonna flip them over, cook them for another 15 to 25 minutes until they get nice and crisp and golden. Now, next up, this is one of my husband's favorite. Well, this whole meal he loves. I know you're gonna love it too. It's my Jazzy Coleslaw. Recently, I chatted with saxophone great and vegetarian Paul Winter at his studio. We talked about his music and his favorite vegan burgers. We talked a couple of weeks ago, and I learned all about your 50th anniversary of your anthology CD, the Paul Winter Sextet. Jazz is an all-American music. You were very much a part of that when you played at the White House many years ago. Tell us a little bit about that.
We had done a State Department tour of Latin America in the early 60s and had then gotten an invitation from Mrs. Kennedy, the First Lady, to play at the White House.
Wow.
As part of a series that she was having called Concerts for Young People by Young People. Mm-hmm. So in November of '62, we played there, and it just happened to be the first time a jazz concert had ever been held at the White House.
What an amazing piece of American history. I love the CD, and I love all of your music. Today, of course, we've got the all-American meal. We've got the Jazzy Vegetarian burger and fries and coleslaw and vegan milkshake. People sometimes say to me, you're a vegan. Why do you want to eat foods that tasted like the other foods you don't eat anymore? Well, because I did love those foods when I was a little girl. So sometimes we crave those foods. What are a few substitutes you use for burgers, fries, hot dogs, those kinds of things?
I just discovered these alternative hot dogs. There used to be a kind that we got called not dogs, and people would kid me about that. because my favorite meal was spaghetti and nut dogs. Thanksgiving meal, everybody would be having turkey or roast beef, and my mom had to get me hot dogs. We like to make smoothies, which are certainly an alternative milkshake. Burgers, I'd like to find really great alternative burgers. I mean, I've tried a lot, and some have been very good. I mean, the homemade ones are the best.
I'll give you the recipe.
Yeah.
We
All
got
right.
the best Jazzy vegetarian burger on the show today, that's for sure. This has been such a great conversation today, and I want to thank you so much for being with us, and hope you get a chance to do it again.
Me too.
It's the great Paul Winter. Jazzy coleslaw. What's better with burger and fries than coleslaw? I like to use purple cabbage. That kind of jazzes it up a little bit, but you can certainly use green cabbage with this. Works perfectly fine. I also grate it by hand. So you just want to start by grating it. You get the picture. So I'm using 4 cups of grated purple cabbage. It's about a half of a medium purple cabbage. And then to give it really a beautiful pop of color and an extra bit of crunch and a little bit of sweetness, 1 cup of grated carrots. I think my bowl is a little bit too small, so let me grab something a little bit bigger. Well, a lot bigger. Alrighty. All right, we gotta give it some taste. So I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of vegan mayonnaise. Then to give it a little kick, 1 tablespoon of prepared Dijon mustard. Now I want to give it a little bit of sweet. I'm gonna just add 2 teaspoons of maple sugar. That's just gonna give a little pop of sweet in there. You certainly don't have to put the sugar in if you don't want to. Then 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt. And then just a pop of freshly ground pepper. A little bit more than a pop. I like it to be nice and spicy. Ooh, smell those burgers a-cookin'. Let's go see what's happening. Let's see if we have to flip them. Oh yeah, they're coming along nicely. Beautiful. You see they're holding together just beautifully. Nice and browned on the bottom. That's just perfect. So let's pop those back in. All righty. Doesn't that look festive? You know, you eat with your eyes first. I know I've said this a lot, but it's really, really true. When you look at food and it looks delicious, that makes it taste delicious in your mind before you even taste it. So before you even take a bite, you're gonna think something tastes really great. Great Jazzy tip. I'm gonna go ahead and put it right in my serving bowl. Look at that color. Woo! I'm gonna put that in the refrigerator. And now we get on to the real deal. My confetti oven fries. Taste like fried, but they're not. So please stick around. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yay! Confetti oven fries, they are just so good. You make them in the oven. I'm using russet potatoes, but I'm also using sweet potatoes, thus the word confetti. I love it. Now what I have done is I've cut up 1 large sweet potato. I peeled this one first, and then I have 1 large russet potato. I scrubbed it very well, but didn't peel it. And I've got another large russet potato here, and another sweet potato. I'm not gonna peel this one. I'm gonna give a lot of nice texture to these confetti oven fries. Slice a little piece off the bottom. Then I just slice them into little matchsticks. Goes pretty quickly. Go. So I'm starting with 4 large potatoes, 2 large russet potatoes and 2 large sweet potatoes. You do want to use the russet potatoes for these. If you use the Yukon Golds or a softer potato, your confetti fries do get a little bit mushy. So what you want to do is just slice your potato. I like to slice it into thin slices, and I put a couple of slices together. And it's just really easy to chop up into matchsticks. Goes along very, very quickly. I smell those mushroom nut burgers. Let me just check on them. Oh yeah. Woo! Those are done. So I'm gonna leave them here to cool a little bit. I'm gonna put all of my potatoes into a large bowl. And now we're gonna spice them up just a little bit. I'm gonna start off with about a half of a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Got a tablespoon in here, but I'm just gonna start with a half. We'll see if we need more. Let me just get my bigger bowl right down here. Toss them with your hands. I am gonna go ahead and add a bit more olive oil. I'm using 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And now I'm adding 3/4 of a teaspoon of chili powder. That's gonna make them real pretty. Give them a little bit of pizzazz. I'm adding 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and a half a teaspoon of sea salt. You're gonna salt them a little bit more when they come out of the oven. Let's mix them together. I want them to be all coated with all those spices, because once again, we're not frying them. So it's very important that we flavor each little tiny piece of potato. I've lined out a baking sheet with some unbleached parchment paper. And I'm gonna use 3 of these sheets today. Want to kind of spread them out because you don't want to crowd them. They can be touching, but if you pile them one on top of the other, they're going to end up steaming in the oven. You don't want that because you want them to get a little bit crispy. So I'm putting these in a 400-degree oven. I'm going to bake them for 25 minutes. I'm going to stir them around a little bit. I'm going to put them back in the oven for an additional 15 to maybe even 25 minutes until they're soft inside and nice and crispy on the outside. So I'm going to put the rest of these on my parchment paper. I'm going to get them in the oven, and we're going to go on to, oh yeah, you know I love a little bit of sweet, my banana milkless shake. So let's get going on that. Goes better with a burger and fries than a milkshake. When I was a little girl, I'd often go to the deli and I always ordered a milkshake. So I think that a banana milkless shake is a perfect jazzy vegetarian vegan variety of this American classic. So here's how we get going on our banana milkless shake. We're gonna use 1.5 cups of chilled vanilla non-dairy milk. I have 3 very large frozen bananas. I've chopped them up and frozen them. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And to start off, I'm using 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. We're gonna taste it. It really depends on how sweet you like it. You like it a little sweeter, you can add a lot more maple syrup. Really can add as much as you want. We're gonna start with 2 tablespoons. It really depends on how sweet the bananas are. Yeah, all righty. Check it out. Oh, it's almost like ice cream now. I'm gonna add about another 1/2 cup of this non-dairy milk. Just add as much as you like to make it as thick as you like. Sometimes I even use less. It really depends on how big the bananas are. Also depends on what kind of non-dairy milk you use. Also depends on how you like it. Also depends on how you like your milkshake. Oh, that smells so good. You're gonna take a look at this. Looks like a milkshake, tastes like a milkshake, but it's a milkless shake. I like my milkshakes nice and thick. That's how I used to get them in the deli when I was a little girl. Love it, love it, love it. I'm gonna put it in some pretty cups here for my all-American meal today. Well, I smell those fries a-cooking. I smell my mushroom burgers. I know my coleslaw is getting nice and crisp. And what does that mean? It's time to plate up this all-American meal. And I get to do the good job because I get to taste it for you. So let's do that right now. Burger and fries. I am so excited to taste this meal. This is fabulous, isn't it? My jazzy coleslaw, my confetti oven fries, not fried, they're fried in the oven, so to speak, and my mushroom nut burger. And of course, to top it all off, my wonderful banana milkless shake. You know I gotta have the fries first. Pick them up with your fingers. They're really, really good. So delicious. A little bit of a crunch to them. And that chili powder, and that salt, and the Italian herbs, tiny bit of olive oil. It makes them so, so good. You must try it. Now for a little bit of my coleslaw. As you see, I finished it off with just a little bit of gamasio over the top. Gamasio is whole sesame seeds, and it's mixed with a little bit of sea salt. Just sprinkle that over the top for a little bit of extra crunch. That is fabulous. Of course, last but not least, can't wait to take a bite of my burger. Look at that. I dressed it out with some mustard, some ketchup, some onions, some fabulous tomatoes, some lettuce, and a little vegan hamburger bun. I'll take a big bite. That's really, really good. The mushrooms, the walnuts, the breadcrumbs all come together. A really luscious burger. Now for a little bit of my milkshake. My banana milkless shake. Tastes just like a regular milkshake. No milk, no dairy, but completely delicious. I've had such a good time preparing this fun meal for you today. So when you're on the lookout for a jazzed up vegan version of burger and fries, I hope you'll turn to the menu from today's show. So until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be well. From the Jazzy Vegetarian.
Visit our website at jazzyvegetarian.com to connect with Laura, see videos, find your favorite recipes, and more. Follow Laura on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Companion cookbooks to the Jazzy Vegetarian series contain beautiful full-color photos and include recipes featured each season.
This 10th anniversary edition companion cookbook features full-color photos, menu plans, and over 120 recipes.
For more information or to order, visit jazzyvegetarian.com.
Organic love, 100% natural. Yes, it is now. Organic love. I've got no additives or no preservatives. It's real intuitive. It's downright primitive. Organic love. Organic love is 100% natural. Yes, it is now.